Welcome, folks, once again to another at-home table read. We're going to be doing a reading tonight for the classic sci-fi hit Alien, directed by Ridley Scott. Taking us through our adventure tonight on action description, we have Jessica Ash. Appreciate it. Perfect. Now, as the captain of the crew, Captain Dallas.
What's up, y'all?
Erik hanging out right down there. As a Chief Engineer Parker. That's we got Curtis. As Warrant Officer Ellen Ripley. Angi hanging out there along with lovely Jonesy. As Navigator Lambert. Shawn Mack hanging out down there. As Science Officer Ash. Perfect. Get him hanging out right down there. Also as Engineering Technician Brett. Fantastic. And I will be Executive Officer Kane. Well, folks, we're just going to head off to LV-426. Jess, let's take us on out.
Alien by Walter Hill and David Giller, that guy. Based on a screenplay by Dan O'Bannon. Fade in, sometime in the future. Interior engine room, empty, cavernous. Interior engine cubicle, circular, jammed with instruments, all of them idle. Console chairs for two, empty. Interior oily corridor, sea level, long, dark, empty. Turbos throbbing, no other movement. Interior corridor A level, long, empty. Interior infirmary A level, distressed ivory walls, all instrumentation at rest. Interior corridor to bridge A level, black, empty. Interior bridge, vacant, two space helmets resting on chairs, electrical hum. Lights on the helmets begin to signal one another. Moments of silence. A yellow light goes on. Data mine bank in background, electrical hum. A green light goes on in front of one helmet. Electronic pulsing sounds. A red light goes on in front of another helmet. An electronic conversation ensues, reaches a crescendo, then silence. The lights go off, save the yellow. Interior corridor to hypersleep vault. Lights come on. 7 gowns hang from the curved wall. Vault door opens. Interior hypersleep vault. Explosion of escaping gas. The lid on a freezer pops open. Slowly, groggily, Kane sits up, pale. Kane rubs the sleep from his eyes, stands, looks around and stretches. Looks at the other freezer compartments, scratches, moves off. Interior galley. Kane plugs in a Silex, lights a cigarette, coughs, grinds some coffee beans, runs some water through.
Rise and shine, Lambert.
Interior hypersleep vault. Another lid pops open. A young woman sits up.
What time is it?
What do you care?
Interior galley. Pot now half full. Kane watches it drip, inhales the fragrance.
Oh, now Dallas and Ash. Morning, Captain.
Where's the coffee?
Brewing.
Lambert walks into the kitchen, pours herself a cup. Interior hypersleep vault. 2 more lids pop open. A pair of men sit up and look at each other. Interior galley. Kane enjoys a freshly brewed cup.
Ripley.
The sound of another lid opening.
Parker.
Another moment, and then the sound of another lid opening.
We have Parker. Brett can't far behind.
Lid opening sound.
Right.
Interior hypersleep vault. Dallas looks at his groggy circus.
One of you jokers get the cat.
Ripley picks a limp cat out of the compartments. Interior mess. The crew of the United States commercial starship Nostromo seated around a table. Dallas, captain. Kane, executive officer. Ripley, warrant officer. Ash, science officer. Lambert, navigator. Parker, engineer. Brett, engineering technician. Jones, cat. 5 men and 2 women, Lambert and Ripley.
Jesus, am I cold?
Still with us, Brett?
Lucky us.
They yawn, stretch, shiver. Dallas looks over a flashing yellow light.
Feel dead.
Kane is not yet fully awake. He yawns.
You look dead.
Nice to be back.
Before we dock, maybe we'd better go over the bonus situation.
Yep.
Brett and I think we deserve full share.
You two will get what you're contracted for. just like everybody else.
Everybody else gets more than us.
Everybody else deserves more than you two.
Ash?
Mother wants to talk to you, Dallas.
Oh, I saw it. Yellow light for my eyes only. Now everybody hit their stations.
Interior, computer room annex, floor-to-ceiling data banks, another flashing yellow light. Dallas enters, runs through access procedure, inner door opens. Dallas moves to the console chair, sits. Dallas punches the keyboard. Legend on the screen, alert over monitoring function for matrix display and inquiry. Mother prints out, over monitor address matrix, columns of categories beneath. Dallas picks one and types out command priority alert. Mother replies, over monitor function ready for inquiry. Dallas, what's the story, Mother? Cut to interior bridge. Above eye level, the room is rigged by view screens, all of them blank. Kane, Ripley, Lambert, and Ash enter. Dallas's seat remains empty. All of them now dressed find their way to individual consoles. Ripley puts down the cat, straps herself into the high back chair.
Plug us in.
All three crew members begin throwing switches. The control room starts to come to life. Colored lights flicker, chase each other across glowing screens.
Something to look at.
Lambert presses a bank of switches. View screens glimmer into life.
Take a look at this.
On each screen, blackness speckled with stars.
Where's Earth?
You're the navigator.
That's not our system.
Scan?
Lambert hits several toggles. On the screens, the images begin to drift. Angle on one of the screens, a moving image of a star field. Exterior, Nostromo, the factory starship lumbering within the depths of interstellar space. Function, petroleum tanker and refinery. Capacity, that many tons. Length, 1.5 kilometers. Battered exterior encrusted with dark sludge. Interior, bridge. Lambert pores over charts, consults her console puzzled.
Contact traffic control?
Ripley switches on her transmission unit.
This is commercial vessel Nostromo out of Houston. Registration number 180246. Calling Antarctica traffic control. Do you read me? Over.
Nothing but the hiss of static.
Nothing.
Keep trying.
Turn to Lambert, Ripley attempting transmission in background.
Got a reading yet?
Way out in the boondocks here.
Keep trying.
Working on it.
Eureka!
Found it. Just short of Zeta 2 Reticuli. I'm sorry. We haven't even reached the outer rim yet.
It's hard to believe.
What the hell are we doing out here?
What are you talking about?
It's not our system.
Interior engine room, giant reactor system purring smoothly. Interior engine room cubicle. Parker and Brett in a glass cubicle, each having a beer. Huge power plant stretching before them. All units of automatic hyperdrive. Parker hits a switch above his desk. A green light goes on.
How's your light?
Green.
Mine too.
They both take a swig. Suddenly, the beeper signal begins.
Christ, what is it now?
Right.
Report to the mess.
Interior or oily corridor sea level.
I want to know why you never come down here. This is where the work is.
The reason we have half share here to their one. Our time is their time. That's the way they see it.
Well, I'll tell you something. It stinks.
They move towards the companionway leading up to B level. Interior mess. Entire crew present.
Some of you may have figured out that we're not home. We're only halfway back to Earth.
Oh, hell?
Mother's interrupted the course of the voyage.
Why?
She's programmed to do that if certain conditions arise. They have...
Pause.
Seems Mother intercepted a transmission of unknown origin. She got us up to check it out.
Transmission? Out here?
What was that, Lambert?
What kind of transmission?
An acoustic beacon. It repeats in intervals of 12 seconds.
Is it an SOS?
Unknown.
Human?
Unknown.
So what?
Replies under section B2.
Christ, I hate to say this, but we're a commercial ship, not a rescue team. Kind of duties not in our contract. But if it's for some money,
You better read your contract. Any systemized transmission indicating possible intelligent origin must be investigated at penalty of total forfeiture of shares.
Dallas gives Parker and Brett a look.
We're going in. That's it.
Brett knows when to ease up.
Right. We're going in. Sir.
Dallas turns to Ash.
Can we land on it?
Somebody did.
That's what I mean.
Interior bridge. Dallas, Kane, Ripley, and Ash stand around the illuminated map table. Lambert sits at the radio directional console.
Okay, let's all hear it.
Nods at Lambert. She switches on the audio system. Hissing. Static. Then an ungodly sound. 8 seconds worth.
God.
Static. Lambert switches off the loudspeakers.
What the hell is it? Doesn't sound like any radio signal I've ever heard.
Maybe it's a voice?
Disturbing moment.
We'll know soon. Have you homed in on it?
Found the quadrant. We're close. It's coming from ascension 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Declination minus 39 degrees, 2 seconds.
Show me that on the screen.
Lambert punches buttons. One of the view screens flickers and a small dot of light appears.
Can you get a little closer?
No, you have to look at it from this distance. That's what I'm going to do.
The screen zooms to a small planetoid.
Smartass.
That's it. Planetoid. Diameter 1,200 kilometers.
Tiny.
Any rotation?
Yeah, about 2 hours.
Gravity?
0.86.
You can walk on it.
Exterior Nostromo model moving within range of the planet.
Approaching orbital apogee, mark 20 seconds. 19, 18.
Continues to count down.
Full 92 degrees starboard yaw.
High above the planet, the factory ship rotates. Engines fire briefly. Interior bridge.
Equatorial orbit nailed.
Exterior ship. Now within the planet's orbit, the planet rolling by underneath. Interior bridge.
Give me an EC pressure reading.
3.45 and cm squared, 5 psia.
Shout if it changes.
You worried about redundancy management, disabling CMGS control?
Yeah.
CMG control is inhibited via DAS DCS, will augment with TACs and monitor through ATMDC and computer interface. Get better?
A lot. Prepare to disengage from platform.
Interior engine room cubicle.
alignment on port and starboard is green.
Green on spino-umbilical service. Severance.
Interior bridge.
Crossing the Terminator, entering Nightside.
Exterior ship. Below night's curtain rolls across the sphere's surface. Interior bridge.
It's coming up. It's coming up. Stand by. Stand by 15 seconds. 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lock.
Disengage.
Exterior ship. The tug disengages from the platform. Interior bridge. Dallas watches the refinery moving away on a view screen.
Umbilicus clear.
Decision corrected.
Okay, the money's safe. Let's take it down.
Exterior ship. The tug begins its arc towards the dark surface. Interior bridge.
Dropping 50,000 meters. Down, down, 49,000 meters. Entering atmosphere.
Jones sits on a window platform and watches cloud approaching. Exterior ship. The ship drops into the thick cloud layer. Interior bridge.
Turbulence.
Navigation lights on.
Exterior ship. The tug module hydroplaning downward. A set of brilliant lights switch on, cut through the thick atmosphere. Interior engine room cubicle. Parker and Brett, strapped in their seats, begin rocking from the sudden extreme turbulence.
What was that?
Pressure drop in intake 3. must have lost the shield. Yep, 3's gone. Dust pouring in the intake.
Shut her down. Shut her down.
What do you think I'm doing?
We got an engine full of dust.
It'll bypass and it will vent the stuff back out.
What the hell are we going through? If we don't crash dollars to your aunt's cherry, we get an electrical fire.
Interior bridge. The turbulence continues unabated. Lambert's eyes follow cross-plot gauges.
Approaching point of origin. Closing at 20 kilometers, 15, and slowing. 10, 5. We're directly above the source of transmission.
What's the terrain?
Something coming up. Looks good. There, flat. It'll do. Mark.
Let's go with it. Take her down.
Drop begins now. 15 kilometers and dropping. 12, 10, 8 and slowing. 5, 3, 2, 1 kilometer and slowing.
Activate lifter quads.
A throb of jets.
Quads on.
Kill drive engines.
The main engines fall silent.
900 meters and dropping. 800, 700.
Exterior planet night. Storm blowing across the night-shrouded surface. The ship hovers on glowing beams of light. Landing struts unfold like insect legs. The ship slams down, rocks heavily on massive shock absorbers. Interior bridge night.
We're down.
An enormous vibration. The panels in the room flash simultaneously. Lights go out.
Lost it. I lost it.
Interior engine room. Another huge vibration. An electrical fire breaks out along 3 control panels. Interior engine room cubicle. Parker and Brett see the pandemonium below. Brett hits the secondary generator switch. A pressure valve blows. Another conduit breaks loose. All lights go out. They grab hand lights from the wall. Interior bridge. Still in darkness.
Secondary generator should kick over.
Where is it?
Moments. Nothing. Kane grabs emergency headlamp from the wall, followed by Dallas and Lambert.
What happened?
Ripley hits the voice amp.
Engine room. What happened?
Goddamn dust in the engines. That's what happened. Electric fire.
Big.
Interior engine room cubicle. Parker fighting an electrical fire on one of his panels. Brett shouting from his voice amp.
The intake's clogged. We overheated and burned out a whole cell. Christ, it's really breaking loose down here.
Interior bridge.
Somebody give me a simple answer. Has the hull been breached?
Ripley scans her gauges.
I don't see anything. We've still got pressure.
A beep from the communicator.
Hit the screen.
Kane snaps 3 toggles. The screens flicker but remain black.
Nothing.
Exterior ship night. The wind sounds. Storm continues to blow around the craft. A few glittering lights distinguish the ship from absolute darkness. Interior engine room cubicle. Parker on the communicator to the bridge.
Port panel is totally shot. The secondary load sharing unit is out, and at least 3 cells on 12 module are gone.
Interior bridge. Ripley listening to Parker. Dallas standing over her. No images on any screens.
Is that it?
Couldn't fix it out here anyway. And we need to reroute a couple of these ducts. Can't really fix them without a whole dry dock.
What else?
We lost a cell. Some fragments caked up and blew the whole system. We got to clean it all out and repressurize.
Right?
Get started on 4 panel. I'll be down in 5 minutes.
She shuts off voice communicator.
How long before we're functional?
15 to 20 hours.
Stay on it. How about the auxiliaries?
Working on it.
Exterior ship night. Bridge lights come to life, illuminate nothing but a patch of featureless ground. The wind and storm now at a higher pitch. Interior bridge. Dallas, Kane, Lambert, and Ash slouched across the bridge, drinking coffee, occasionally staring at the opaque screens.
Any response yet?
Nothing but the same transmission every 32 seconds. All the other channels are dead.
Pause.
Kick on the floods.
Exterior ship. A ring of floodlights come to life, dimly illuminating the rocky landscape, the wind and dust now at a higher pitch. Interior bridge night. Dallas stares out the windows at the swirling storm, illuminated by the external floodlights.
Can't go anywhere in this.
Oh, Mother says the sun's coming up in about 20 minutes.
Well, how far from the source of the transmission?
Northeast, about 3,000 meters.
Close enough to walk to.
Can you run an atmospheric?
Ash punches buttons, starts to consult his panel.
Almost primordial. Nitrogen, a high concentration of carbon dioxide crystals, methane, ammonia, also frozen. I'm working on the trace elements.
Pressure.
10 to the 4th dynas per square centimeter.
What's your content?
98 pp. It's wet with high vapor content.
Anything else?
Rock lava base, deep cold, well below the line.
I volunteer for the first group going out.
I hear you, Lambert. You too.
Pause.
Well,
One more thing. Let's get out some weapons.
Interior engine room cubicle. Parker and Brett laser welding one of the ducts. Shirts off, sweat steaming. Ripley rewiring one of the panels. Parker shuts down the laser, inspects the fusion.
Hey, Ripley, I got a question.
Yeah?
Do we get to go out on an expedition, or are we stuck here till everything's fixed?
You know the answer to that.
What about the shares in case they find anything?
Don't worry, you'll both get what's coming to you.
I'm not going to do any more work unless we get full shares.
You're guaranteed by law that you'll get a share. Now both of you knock it off and get back to work.
Parker looks at her, snaps on the laser weld, starts to join another section of the duct.
Right.
Interior, main airlock, dawn. Dallas, Kane, and Lambert enter the lock. All wear gloves, boots, jackets, carry laser pistols. Kane touches a button, servo whine. Then the inner door slides quietly open. The trio pull on their helmets.
I'm sending. Do you hear me?
Receiving.
receiving.
Lambert isn't happy.
All right. Keep away from the weapons unless I say otherwise.
Interior, Ash's blister, dawn. Ash descends companionway to blister, punches up screens and instrumentation. Interior, main airlock, dawn.
Open outer hatch.
Another servo whine. Ponderously, the outer lock hatch slides open. Clouds of dust and steam swirl before the three crew members. A mobile gangway slides out the open hatch, burnt orange sunlight beyond. Exterior, planet dawn. The trio walk down the gangplank, arriving at surface level, their feet striking onto a thick layer of lava rock, the wind at gale force.
Which way?
Over here.
You lead?
Lambert walks into the storm, followed closely by the others.
Now I can't see a goddamn thing.
Turn on the finder. It's tuned to the transmission. Let it lead you.
It's on. Ash, are you receiving?
Interior, Ash's blister, dawn. Ash leaning over his console, watches them beneath him, corresponding images on the screen in front of him.
See you. Read you. Good contact on my board.
Getting you clear and free. Let's keep the line open.
Exterior, planet, dawn. The three crew members push their way along, like divers at the bottom of a dark sea. The wind and dust continues driving down in dark sheets. Lambert repeats.
Can't see more than 3 meters in any direction.
Quit griping.
I like griping.
Come on.
What a wonderful little place. Totally unspoiled.
They wade on, following Lambert. She abruptly halts, confused. Interior, blister, dawn. Ash watches his view screens intently.
I've got it again.
Any problems?
Yeah, a lot of dust and wind. Starting to get some fade on the beam.
Exterior, planet, dawn. The trio moves through a dark limo.
This way.
Lambert indicates left, moves in that direction. The others follow, the storm growing.
I'm losing it.
They approach a towering rock formation. The transmission dies out.
It's gone again.
They shelter under a grotesque rock. Storm shrieks around them.
Well, now we're really blind.
Should be dawn soon.
Dallas adjusts his headset.
Ash, if you hear me, how long until daylight?
Some static.
Sun's coming up in about 10 minutes.
We should be able to see something then.
Or the other way around.
Something to think about while waiting. Interior blister, dawn, Ash checking instruments. Exterior, the ship, sunrise. Atmosphere turning the color of blood. Then the sun is up. Interior, engine cubicle. Brett and Parker still at work. Ripley moves away from her panel in triumph.
You ought to be able to handle the rest.
Don't worry.
If you run into trouble, I'll be on the bridge.
All right.
She leaves.
Bitch.
Exterior, planet, day. The three figures stand and move away from the rock formation. There's enough daylight to see where they are walking. The signal begins to fade in again. Interior, blister, day. Ash watches video images of the three, now moving again. Ripley's voice comes over.
How's it going?
Interior, bridge, Ripley at her console.
All right.
Have you tried putting the transmission through ECIU?
Mother hasn't identified it yet.
I'll give it a shot.
Be my guest.
She punches some buttons. The noise is now heard on her speaker. Exterior, planet, day, dust clearing, three tiny figures against the landscape. Exterior, planet, day, empty landscape. Then Kane comes over, awry, startled by what he sees. Suddenly, the transmission is deafening.
Jesus Christ.
Dallas and Lambert join him equally startled. Their POV, day, a gargantuan spaceship rising from the rock, clearly of non-human manufacture. Exterior, planet, day, noise still at shrill pitch, all members of the party shouting into their voice amps.
It's some kind of spaceship.
Are you sure? It's weird.
Ash, can you see this?
Interior, Ash's blister, day, Ash looking at the craft on a screen.
Yes. Never seen one like it. Neither has Mother.
Keep looking for enhancement.
Whatever the transmission is, it's inside that.
I'll go in and have a look.
Hold on. Ash, I don't see any lights or movements. Do you?
I can't get any reading.
Exterior, planet, day.
It's putting out so much power, I just can't get any reading.
Dallas shuts off his receiver. Sudden quiet. A long moment.
It looks pretty dead from here. We'll approach the base.
They move toward the ship. Interior, blister, day. Ash readjusts his instrumentation.
There's only one thing I can...
Dallas's voice fades in and out, as do their images on the view screens.
Dallas? Dallas, do you read me?
No reply. Interior, bridge, day. Ripley is running the transmission through ECIU. Over the speakers, Dallas's voice fades in.
No sign of life. No light. Shh. No movement. Shh.
She studies a long series of binary programs.
We're beneath the base. Shh.
His voice fades into static, disappears. Exterior, derelict, day. The lower part of the entrance filled with dust and pumice.
Looks like an entrance.
Yeah. Let's move inside.
They climb up to one of the apertures and enter. Interior chamber, day. They move into a high-ceiling chamber. Ghostly light filters dust-filled air. A few meters in, an opening appears. Dallas leans over and looks into the hole. Only blackness. He unclips the light from his belt, shines it down into the hole.
Just goes down. Smooth walls. I can't see the bottom. Light won't reach.
Kane and Lambert come over. Dallas begins unclipping gear from his belt.
Let's take a look around here first.
Kane and Lambert exchange a glance. Dallas shines his light about, sees a large glossy urn, tan coloration, round opening at the top, empty within. Then Dallas shines his light on nearby wall, moves closer.
Over here.
They approach, train their lights along the floor. A machine. On the mechanism, a small bar moves steadily back and forth, sliding noiselessly in the grooves.
Still functioning.
Lambert looks down at her direction finder.
Automatic recording.
Dallas snaps it off.
Now for a look below. This is your big chance.
Okay.
Don't unhook yourself from the cable. Be out in less than 10 minutes. Read me?
Aye, aye.
Dallas rigs a tripod across the opening in the floor, unspools a couple feet of wire. Kane attaches the end of it to his chest unit. He climbs over the lip and drops into the hole. Now hanging by the wire, head and shoulder out of the opening. Kane activates the climbing unit, lowers himself into the fissure. Interior shaft opening. Kane braces his feet against the wall of the vertical shaft. Switches on his light, points it into the depths. The beam penetrates only 30 feet or so, then it is lost in darkness.
Hotter in here. Warm air rising up from below.
He starts down, playing out the line, descending in short leaps, stops to catch his breath, breathing rasping loudly in his helmet. A little light filters from above. Looking up, Kane can see the mouth of the hole, a glowing spot.
You okay in there?
Haven't hit bottom yet. This is work. Can't talk now.
He kicks off and continues down, taking longer and longer hops as he gains confidence. Pausing for a moment to regain his breath, he shines the light on his instruments.
I'm below ground level.
Interior bridge, day. Ripley at her console, still working on transmission, gets a readout. She looks worried, speaks into communicator.
Ash, urgent. Mother has deciphered part of the transmission. I'm afraid it may not be an SOS.
And what is it?
She thinks it may be a warning.
A beat, continuing static.
We've got to get through to them right away.
It's no use. Once they went inside, we lost them completely.
Pause.
I'm going out after them.
I don't think so. We can't spare the personnel. We've got minimum takeoff capability right now. That's why Dallas left us on board.
I still think we should go after them.
What's the point? In the time it takes to get there, they'll know if it's a warning or not.
Ripley looks steadily at Ash on her monitor. His screen not visible to her shows blow up of helmeted skeletal head, not human. Interior derelict cargo hold. Kane resumes his downward climb. Suddenly his feet lose their purchase as the walls of the shaft disappear. The tunnel has reached its end. Below him is dark, cavernous space. Deep breaths due to his violent exertion.
See anything?
No, cave or something below me. Feels like a goddamn tropics in here.
He consults his instruments, helmet instrumentation strobing softly in the darkness.
High nitrogen content. No oxygen.
Still puffing, he releases his purchase on the stone walls, begins to lower himself on power. Now Kane is dangling free in darkness, spinning slowly on the bottom as the chest unit unwinds, then his feet hit bottom. Kane grunts in surprise, almost loses his balance. He flashes his suit lights. The beams reveal that he is in a large hold. Row after row of extrusions stretch from floor to ceiling.
This is weird.
What do you mean?
There's something all over the walls.
Kane walks across the chamber, examines the organic protrusions. Interior chamber above, Dallas and Lambert.
How long till sunset?
20 minutes.
A look from Lambert. Interior hold. Kane approaches the center of the room. On the floor are rows of leathery ovoid shapes. He walks around them, shines his light on one.
Some kind of storage area. Is anybody there? Do you read me?
Loud and clear.
Place is full of leathery things. Like the one up above. They seem to be sealed.
Can you see what's in them?
Give it a look.
He tries to open one of them. It won't open.
Strange feeling to it.
Don't open it. You don't know what's in it.
Kane peers closely at the leathery ovoids, turns away. Raised areas begin to appear where he touched it. He moves his light along the rows, turns back to the one he was examining. Something has changed. The opaque surface begins to clear, object becoming visible within. Kane shines his light on the floor at the base of it. He studies it.
Jesus.
What?
Viscera and mandible now visible. The interior surface spongy and irregular. Kane shines the light inside. With shocking violence, a small creature smashes outward, fixes itself to its mask, sizzling sound. The creature melts through his mask, attaching itself to Kane's face. Kane tears at the thing with his hands, his mouth forced open. He falls backward. Interior chamber above.
Kane, can you hear me?
What's the matter?
We better haul him out.
They'll yank you right off his feet if he's not expecting it.
Try him again.
Kane! God damn it, answer me!
Dallas begins to fiddle with the winch mechanism.
The line's slack.
Pause.
He doesn't answer. Do you think he could have unhooked himself?
Dallas switches on the winch motor. With a whine, it begins to reel the line in. After a moment, the line tightens with a jerk. The motor slows, laboring under added weight.
It caught.
Is it hooked on something?
No, it's coming.
I can't see anything.
Dallas shines his light down into the hole, shakes his head.
Line's still moving.
A long moment, Dallas shines his light again.
Here he comes.
The winch labors heavily.
Get ready to grab him.
Kane appears at the top of the opening, dangles limply from the wire. Dallas reaches for him, then recoils.
Look out. There's something on his face.
Lambert attempts to help.
What is it?
Kane appears to be completely unconscious. The life form is still wrapped motionless around his face.
Jesus.
Don't touch it.
They grapple with Kane's limp body, lift him from the hole. Exterior, the ship, sunset. Atmosphere turning the color of blood, and the sun is down. The ring of floodlights on the ship come to life, feebly combating the darkness and continuing storm. Interior bridge / interior blister dusk, intercut. Jones the cat staring through a port opening at the storm. Ripley waiting on the bridge. Ash stares at his inactive monitors. Suddenly...
We've got them. They're back on the screens.
How many?
3 blips. They're coming this way.
Ripley presses transmitter.
Dallas, can you hear me?
Shh, we hear you. We're coming back. Kane's injured. We'll need some help getting him in.
I'll go.
Ash moves from the blister. Ripley remains seated at her console. Interior engine room cubicle. Parker and Brett listening over the intercom. Exterior landing leg, night. Dallas and Lambert dragging Kane on a travois towards the landing leg. Interior passageway near airlock. Ash comes down the steps, hurries to the inner wall lock, presses the wall voice amp.
Ripley, I'm by the inner lock hatch.
Okay.
Exterior landing leg, night. Dallas and Lambert drag Kane onto the lift platform. Interior passageway near airlock. Ash waiting. Interior bridge, exterior landing leg, night. Ripley seated alone in the bridge. Dallas and Lambert stand at the base of landing leg, supporting Kane between them.
Ripley, are you there?
Right here.
We're coming up.
They move on to lift.
What happened to Kane?
Pause.
Some kind of organism. It's attached itself to him. We've got to get him to the infirmary now.
I need a clear definition.
Just open the hatch, Ripley.
Wait a minute. If we let it in, the ship could be infected. You know the quarantine procedure. 24 hours for decontamination.
He could die in 24 hours. Open the hatch.
Listen to me. If I break quarantine, we may all die.
Open the
goddamn hatch. We have to get him inside.
I can't. If you were in my position, you'd do the same.
Interior engine cubicle room. Parker and Brett listen. Interior passageway near airlock.
Ripley, do you hear me?
I read you. The answer is negative.
Ash hits the emergency switch. A red light goes on. Servo whine, followed by a solid metallic clunk.
Inner hatch open.
Interior engine room cubicle. Parker and Brett react. Interior bridge, night. Ripley's console flashes. Inner hatch open. She can't believe what she sees. Interior passageway near airlock. Dallas and Lambert stagger into the passageway, carrying Kane's body between them. Dallas pulls off his helmet.
Stay clear.
Ash and Parker move back.
God.
He's alive?
I don't know, but don't touch it.
Take him to the infirmary.
Right.
Ash and Brett move in carefully to help with the limp burden. Interior infirmary. Kane's helmet. Hands begin to open it with a laser cutter. The helmet separates easily. The two halves part, the life form slowly pulsing on Kane's face. Dallas hesitates, then puts his hand on the small creature, tries to pull it free. Unsuccessful. The alien remains anchored to Kane's tissue.
Let me try.
Interior corridor outside infirmary. Window. Lambert, Parker, and Brett watch through the infirmary window. Ripley appears. Lambert turns and looks at her. A long moment.
You were going to leave us out there.
Maybe she should have. Who the hell knows what that is?
Right.
Ripley looks at Lambert a moment.
I was trying to do my job. Let's leave it at that.
Lambert gives her a curt nod.
What happened out there?
We went into the derelict. There were no signs of life. That transmission must have been going for centuries.
What about the crew?
Only found one of them. Looked like he'd been shot.
And Kane?
He volunteered to search the lower level alone. He found some kind of eggs. We told him not to touch them, but something happened in there. We pulled him out. It was on his face.
Interior infirmary.
We better let the machine work on him.
Ash presses a switch. The machine lights up. Kane is sucked into a slot in the wall. Visible inside through the glass layer, a blinding colored light performs antisepsis. 2 video monitors pop up. Ash punches 3 buttons. An X-ray image appears. A color depiction of Kane's head and upper torso. The alien is clearly visible, a maze of complicated biology. Kane's jaws are forced open. The creature has extruded a long tube down his mouth and throat, the appendage ending at the base of the esophagus.
It's got something down his goddamn throat.
It must be how it's getting oxygen to him.
It doesn't make sense. It paralyzes him, puts him into a coma, then keeps him alive? We have to get it off him, somehow.
At the moment, the creature is keeping him alive. If we remove it, we might terminate Kane.
We have to take the chance and cut it off him.
You'll take the responsibility.
That's right.
Dallas presses a switch. Kane slides back out from the booth. Ash takes a surgical laser blade from the case. He manipulates the knife until he has a comfortable grip. Flicks a small button with his thumb. The blade begins to hum. Touches the scalpel to the creature. The electronic blade slides effortlessly downwards. Suddenly, a urine-like fluid begins to drip from the wound.
Starting to bleed.
The liquid flows onto the bedding next to Kane's head. Starts to hiss. Smoke curls up from the stain. Next, the yellow fluid eats a hole through the bunk bed, then drips onto the deck below. Metal bubbling and sizzling. More smoke rises. Dallas frantically applies pressure to the wound. In the process, some of the fluid gets on Dallas's gloves. They begin to smoke. Dallas leaps back, pulls them off. They run into the corridor, coughing and choking from the fumes. Interior passageway outside infirmary.
Shit, it's gonna eat through the decks, out the hull.
They start to run for the companionway. Interior passageway, B deck. Dallas wrenches an emergency lamp from a socket, hurls himself down a companionway. The others follow.
There.
A droplet of fluid is sizzling on the ceiling bulkhead. It oozes down, drips to the deck, continues the bubble, then goes to the bulkhead.
What can we put under it?
They charge down the next companionway below. Interior maintenance corridor, C deck. Dallas moves cautiously down the passageway, followed by Ripley, Parker, and Brett. Interior maintenance area, C deck. They enter the maintenance area, look up to the ceiling bulkhead. The acid bubbles.
Don't get under it.
The acid drips to the deck, continues to sizzle, slower.
Looks like it's losing steam.
Dallas fishes a pen out of his pocket, probes the hole in the deck.
It stopped penetrating.
Yeah, after it penetrated the 2 levels.
Dallas straightens up, starts to put the pen back into his pocket, changes his mind, and stands holding it by the end.
I've never seen anything like that, except molecular acid.
Thing uses it for blood.
Wonderful defense mechanism. Don't dare kill it.
They start back towards the companionway. Interior infirmary. They return. Kane still motionless on the bunk. The alien remains secured to his face. Wound completely healed over.
Any of the acid get on him?
Dallas approaches, peers at Kane's head.
Doesn't look like it.
Still dripping that crap.
Healed over.
There must be some way we can get it off.
Ash looks at Dallas.
I don't think you ought to try again. It didn't work out too well last time.
Dallas gives him a look in return. Ripley presses a button. Kane slides back into the diagnostic coffin. More buttons pressed. Displays light up again, showing the different parts of Kane's body.
I better get some intravenous feeding started. So far, I can't tell what the alien has absorbed from his system.
The machine begins to process Kane's body.
What's that stain on his lungs?
The X-ray reveals a spreading dark blot in the chest cavity. At the center, the stain is completely opaque.
Whatever it is, it's blocking the X-ray.
A long moment, the stain spreads.
What happens now?
Ash sets aside his partially melted pen, looks at Dallas.
You go back to work.
Interior, engine room cubicle. Brett at work in the cubicle, Parker supervising him.
I think I've got it. Give it a try.
Parker pushes a button. Negative reaction on his monitor.
Nothing.
Damn, I'm sure that was it.
Well, it isn't. Try the next one.
Right.
Adjust several toggles.
What's happening?
Goddamn woman. I'll tell her what's happening. My Johnson is happening. A lot of hard work. Real work.
Interior, bridge, night.
You ought to try it sometime.
I've got the toughest job on the ship.
Derisive laugh from Parker through the speaker.
I have to listen to your bullshit.
Interior, engine room, cubicle.
Get off my back.
I'll get off your back when 12 module is fixed.
She clicks off. Parker turns away.
Smart mouth broad.
Interior, infirmary. Ash running tests on the equipment. Kane respirating on the view screens above. Still deep within a coma. All instruments recording his life processes. The alien's position unchanged. Ripley approaches, sits near Ash.
Anything new?
He's holding. No changes.
What about the creature?
Well, it's got an outer layer of protein polyunsaccharides, plus it's constantly sloughing off cells and replacing them with polarized silicone, which gives it prolonged resistance to adverse environmental conditions. That enough for you?
Plenty. What's it mean?
It's an interesting combination of elements, making it practically invulnerable.
Is that why you've let it in?
I was following a direct order, remember?
While Dallas and Kane are off the ship, I'm senior officer.
Yes, of course. I forgot.
You also forgot the science division's basic quarantine law.
No, that I didn't forget.
You just broke it.
What would you have done with Kane? You knew his only chance at staying alive was to get him into the infirmary.
By breaking quarantine procedure, you risk everybody's life.
Maybe I should have left him to die out there. Maybe I had jeopardized the rest of us. It was a risk I was willing to take.
This is your official position as a science officer? Not exactly out of the manual.
The first position of science is the protection and betterment of human life. I take my responsibilities as serious as you do. You do your job, and you let me do mine.
Ripley stands, looks at Ash. They walk off screen. Interior, mess. Lambert playing with some string, amusing Jones. Cat's cradle, both looking bored. Interior, engine room cubicle. Parker and Brett at work on the final intake screen. Interior, Narcissus. Dallas listening to a primitive tape, his foot tapping with the rhythm. Beep, an interruption on the communicator.
Dallas,
I think you should have a look at Kane. Something's happened.
serious?
Interesting.
Dallas exits. Interior, corridor, outside infirmary window. Ash stares through the window. Dallas joins him. Ripley appears from behind. A long pause.
It's gone.
Kane's prone form. The alien is no longer on his face. Kane is still unconscious but continues to breathe, face covered with sucker marks.
The door is closed. It must still be in there.
Well, we can't open the door. We don't want to let it out.
Yeah, I remember. We can't grab it. We can't kill it.
Maybe we can catch it.
As long as we're careful not to damage it.
Interior, infirmary. They enter cautiously. Dallas begins moving slowly around the room, picking up a stainless steel tray, looking. Ash and Ripley do the same. Ripley bends down and peers under the bunk. Nothing. She stands. Doesn't see the alien on a ledge above her. Her shoulder brushes against the creature. It drops onto her. She screams, twists. The alien drops to the floor, then lies motionless. Its skin faded to a dead-looking gray. Ripley doesn't raise her eyes from the creature, prods the alien. No response.
Think it's dead. You okay?
Yeah.
She carefully touches the creature with a metal probe, fishes the motionless life form onto the tray, quickly closes the lid, lifts it onto a stainless steel table, bright light trained on the alien. The creature in a supine position. Ash touches at the alien with a surgical instrument.
Look at those suckers. No wonder we couldn't get it off of him.
Where's its mouth?
It's this tube-like thing up in here. It's hardening. It's dead. No life signs whatsoever.
Let's get rid of it.
This has to go back. This is our first contact with a specimen like this. All kinds of tests need to be run.
That thing bled acid. God knows what it'll do when it's dead.
I think it's safe to assume it isn't a zombie. Dallas, we have to keep this specimen.
Pause.
You're the science officer. It's your decision.
Then it's made. I'll seal it in a stasis tube.
Pause.
What about Kane?
Ash turns back to the bunk, studies the life support gauges. Kane continues to breathe steadily.
Running a fever and still unconscious. The machine will bring his temperature down. His vital functions are strong. Who knows? He may make it.
Ash begins to seal the alien in a large vacuum tube.
I need some coffee.
She turns and walks away. Interior, black corridor to bridge. Ripley and Dallas.
How could you leave that kind of decision to him?
I just run the ship. Anything that has to do with science division, Ash has the final word.
How does that happen?
Same way everything else happens. Orders from the company.
Since when is that standard procedure?
Standard procedure is to do what they tell you. Besides, I only know about flying. I haul cargo for a living.
Did you ship out with Ash before?
First time. I went 5 hauls with another science man. Then 2 days before we left Thetis, they replaced him with Ash.
She looks at him.
So what? They replaced my warrant officer with you.
I don't trust him.
I don't trust anybody. What's holding up the repairs?
They're pretty much finished now.
Why did you say so?
There are still some things left to do.
Like what?
We're blind on B and C decks, reserve power systems down.
Oh, that's crap. We can take off without them.
Is that a good idea?
I want to get out of here. Let's get this turkey off the ground.
Exterior planet sunrise. The ship's engines roaring, belching out steams of superheated air. The starship vibrates. Interior bridge sunrise. The crew at their posts.
How do we look down there?
Interior
Okay,
engine
but,
room cubicle. Parker and Brett.
okay, but remember, this is a patch job. If we hit too much turbulence, the cells will blow, and that's all she said.
So take it easy.
Interior bridge sunrise.
I hear you. Ripley, take us up 100 meters and retract the landing struts.
Up 100.
Exterior planet sunrise. The ship lifts off, hovers above the ground on beams of shimmering flame. The landing struts begin folding. Interior bridge day. We hear the thump as the struts retract.
Struts retracted.
Okay, Ripley, it's all yours.
Ripley pushes a lever forward. The engines begin to thunder.
Rolling up the G's. And here we go.
Exterior ship day. The ship begins to surge forward, accelerating upward through the dense atmosphere. Interior bridge day.
1 kilometer on ascension.
Engage artificial gravity.
Lambert throws a switch. The ship lurches.
Engaged.
I'm altering the vector now.
A huge tremor runs throughout the ship.
What was that?
In answer, the intercom beeps.
Starboard quad's overheating. I'm shutting it down.
Just hold us together till we're beyond G1. That's all.
The pitch of the engines changes. Exterior ship day. The ship moves at an acute angle, slices through the boiling clouds, black smoke pouring from one engine. Interior engine room cubicle. Parker and Brett in a frenzy of activity.
Dust is clogging the damn intakes again. Number 2's overheating.
Been on it for 2 minutes.
Interior bridge day. Outside the windows, clouds, clouds, clouds. Another tremor hits through the ship. The crew's eyes riveted to their instruments. The ship clears the top of the cloud layer, bursts out into the star-sprinkled space, trailing a wake of clouds. Interior bridge. The crew cheer, wave their arms in exultation.
We made it. Damn, we made it.
Interior engine room cubicle. Parker breaks open a can of beer.
Walking Park, can you fix something? Space fix.
Interior bridge.
Let's pick up the money and go home. Put her in the garage.
Exterior ship. Above the planet, the ship rendezvous with the refinery. Interior bridge.
Set course for Earth. Then fire up the big ones and get us up to light +4.
With pleasure.
Pete, get me out of here.
Exterior outer space. The ship now at light speed. Perceptible movement in the surrounding universe. A corona effect emerges. Stars approaching the ship appear blue. Receding stars go to red. Red shift, making visible because of the craft's velocity. Interior mess. Parker, Brett, Dallas, and Ripley around table drinking coffee.
Best thing to do is just to freeze him. Stop the goddamn disease and get a doctor to look at him when you get back home.
Right.
Whenever he says anything, you say, right. You know that, Brett?
Right.
What do you think, Parker? Your staff just follows you around and says right, like a regular parrot?
Parker turns to Brett.
Yeah, shape up. What are you, some kind of parrot?
Right.
Oh, knock it off. Kane will have to go into quarantine.
Yeah, and so will we.
Lambert enters.
How about a little something to lower your spirits?
Thrill me.
According to my calculations, based on the time spent getting to and from the planet at the speed at which we were moving away from the other,
Give me the short version. How far from Earth?
10 months.
Christ.
Beep.
Dallas.
Come see Kane right away.
Any change in his condition?
It's simpler if you just come see him.
Interior corridor outside infirmary window. What they see is not what they expect. Kane is sitting up in bed, wide awake. They enter.
Kane, are you all right?
Water, mouth dry. Can I have some water?
Instantly, Ash brings him a plastic cup and water. Kane gulps it down in a swallow.
Or
Ripley quickly fills a much bigger container, hands it to Kane. He greedily consumes the entire contents, then sags back, panting on the bunk.
How do you feel?
terrible. What happened to me?
You don't remember?
Don't remember anything. I can barely remember my name.
You hurt?
All over. It feels like somebody's been beating me with a stick for about 6 years. God, I'm hungry.
What's the last thing you can remember?
I don't know.
You remember what happened on the planet?
Just some horrible dream about smothering. Where are we?
We're on our way home.
Getting ready to go back into the freezers.
I'm starving. I just want to get some food first.
I'm pretty hungry myself.
Okay. One meal before bed.
Interior mess. The entire crew is seated, hungrily swallowing huge portions of artificial food. The cat eats from a dish on the table.
First thing I'm going to do when we get back is eat some decent food.
I have worse than this, but I have better too. You know what I mean?
Christ, you're pounding down this stuff like there's no tomorrow.
Pause.
I mean, I like it.
No kidding.
Yeah. What was on you?
It should. You know what they make this stuff out of?
I know what they make it out of. So what? It's food now. You're eating it.
Suddenly, Kane grimaces.
What's wrong?
Kane's voice strains.
What's the matter?
Oh, I'm just getting cramps.
The others stare at him in alarm. Suddenly, he makes a loud groaning noise, clutches the edge of the table with his hands, knuckles whitening.
Breathe deeply.
Kane screams.
It hurts so bad. It hurts. It hurts. Ugh.
What is it? What hurts?
Kane's face screws into a mask of agony. He falls back into his chair.
Oh, my God. Ugh.
A red stain, then a smear of blood blossoms on his chest. The fabric of his shirt is ripped open. A small head the size of a man's fist pushes out. The crew shout in panic, leap back from the table. The cat spits, bolts away. The head lunges forward, squirting out of Kane's chest, trailing a thick body. Splatters fluids and blood in its wake, lands in the middle of the dishes and food, wriggles away while the crew scatters. Then the alien being disappears from sight. Kane lies slumped in his chair, very dead. A huge hole in his chest. The dishes are scattered, food covered with blood.
No, 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 no.
What was that? What the Christ was that?
It was growing in him the whole time. He didn't even know about it.
Used him for an incubator.
That means we've got another one.
Yeah. And it's loose on the ship.
Slowly, they gather around Kane's gutted corpse. They all look at one another, then at Kane, dead at the table. Interior corridor, A deck, empty. Parker and Brett descend companionway. They join Ash, Lambert, Ripley, and Dallas.
Any signs?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Didn't see a goddamn thing.
Didn't see anything.
We can't go into hypersleep with that thing running loose. We'd be sitting ducks in the freezers. We have to kill it.
We can't kill it. If we do, it'll spill its body acids right through the hull.
Itch.
We have to catch it and eject it from the ship.
Our supplies are based on us spending a limited amount of time out of suspended animation. Strictly limited.
First, we have to find it.
No. First, we've got something else to do.
He looks at Kane's body seen through mess doorway. Interior airlock. Kane's body wrapped in a makeshift shroud. Interior bridge. The crew looking at Kane on view screens. Silent, depressed.
Inner hatch sealed.
Ripley nods.
Anybody want to say anything?
Nothing to say. He nods at Ripley. She presses a button. Exterior ship. The outer hatch opens. Kane's body shoots out into eternity. Dwarfed by the giant ship, the hatch closes. Interior mess. Empty. Completely cleaned up. Parker, Brett, and Ripley enter from one side. Dallas, Lambert, Ash from the other.
Any sound on your side?
Nothing. It must have gone below somehow.
They sit.
We're going to have to catch it and eject it from the ship.
Sounds great. But how?
Room by room, corridor by corridor.
That could take forever.
Our supplies are based on us spending a limited amount of time out of hypersleep. Strictly limited.
We can't go into the freezers with that thing running loose. Remember what the other one did to Kane's helmet? We'd be sitting ducks. We've got to kill it first.
We can't kill it. If we do, the body acids will eat right through the hull.
I say we put on our pressure suits and blow all the air out of the ship. That might kill it.
What a swell idea.
What's wrong with it?
I hate to point this out, but it might be better off without oxygen. It lived that way long enough.
There's another problem. There's no visual communication on B and C decks. All the screens are out.
And what do we do when we find it?
Trap it somehow.
We had a really strong piece of net. We bag it. I could put something together. A long metal rod with a battery in it. It'll only take a few hours.
Why do we listen to this meathead?
Dallas turns it over.
You might be right. For once.
Exterior, outer space. The ship continues through the vortex. Interior, Narcissus. Dallas seated in the shuttlecraft, staring at the myriad lights of outer space. Ripley climbs beside him.
Thought I'd find you here.
Dallas continues to stare.
Are the nets finished?
Pause.
We've got an hour. Look, I need some relief.
Why did you wait until now?
Ripley leans forward.
Let me tell you something. You keep staring out there long enough, they'll be peeling you off the wall.
Ripley begins taking off her boots.
We're the new pioneers, Ripley. We even get to have our own special diseases.
I'm tired of talking.
She rises and removes her upper garments.
You waited too long.
Give it a try anyway.
Clothing removed, his arms move around her. Interior bridge, the crew is assembled. Brett unfolds several yards of asbestos netting, hands out 5 thin rods, each of them like metal broom handles.
I put portable generators in each of these. They're insulated down there. Just be goddamn careful when and not get your hand on the other end.
He touches the tip of a metal object. A blue spark leaps.
It won't damage the little bastard unless its skin is a lot thinner than ours. It'll just give it a little incentive.
Now, if we could only find it.
Ash picks up a portable unit.
I've taken care of that. A tracking device. You set it to search for a moving object. It hasn't got much range, but when you get within a certain distance, it starts beeping.
Ripley takes the tracker from Ash's hand.
What's it key on?
Micro changes in air density. Keep it pointed ahead of you.
We'll break into 2 teams. Whoever finds it first catches it in the net and ejects it from the nearest airlock. For starters, let's make sure the bridge is safe.
Parker turns on his unit, scans it all around the room.
We seem to be okay. This damn thing works.
Ash and myself will go with Lambert. Brett and Parker will make up the second team. Ripley, you command it.
They start doling out the equipment.
Channels are open on all decks. We'll be in constant touch.
Interior passageway, B level. Lambert and Dallas carry the net. Ash walks directly behind, carrying the tracking device. He continually scans from side to side. Lambert stops by a stairwell.
Anything down there?
Interior, another passageway, B level. Parker and Brett move silently along. Ripley ahead of them with the tracker by the stairwell.
Nothing.
They move on. A small light flashes.
Hold it. I've got something.
Parker and Brett grow tense, start looking around.
Where's it coming from?
Ripley peers closely at the tracker.
Machine's screwed up. I can't tell. Needles spinning all over the dial.
Damn malfunction.
Ripley turns the tracker on its side. The needle stabilizes.
Nope, just confused. It's coming from below us.
They all look down at their feet. Interior maintenance, C level. Ripley, Parker, and Brett come down ladder into an endless oily corridor. They stop at the foot of the companionway. They move down corridor into darkness.
Okay.
Looks at tracker, nods down the passageway, stops.
Back this way.
They begin to walk in that direction, entering drab section of the ship, surrounded by deep shadows, footsteps clanging on the metal deck.
I thought you fixed 12 module.
You did.
Circuits must have burned out.
They switch on lights, move around 2 turns.
Wait,
They stop quickly, almost stumbling.
it's within 5 meters.
Parker and Brett heft the net. Ripley has the prod in one hand, tracker in the other, moves with great care, almost in a half crouch, ready to leap back. Prod extended, Ripley constantly glances at her tracker. The device leads her up to a small hatch in the bulkhead. Perspiration rivers down her face. She sets aside the tracker, raises the prod, grasps the hatch handle, yanks it open, jams the electric prod inside. A nerve-shattering squall. Then a small creature comes flying out of the locker, eyes glistening, claws flashing. Instinctively, they throw the net over it, very annoyed. They open the net and release the captive, which happens to be the cat. Hissing and spitting, it scampers away.
God damn it. Hold it.
We killed it. Now we might pick it up on the tracker again.
Go get it. We'll go on.
Right.
Ripley and Parker move down the passageway. Brett follows the direction taken by the cat, moves across passageway into equipment maintenance area. Interior, equipment maintenance area, sea level. Brett walking between rows of shadowed equipment looking for the cat, nervous.
Jones. Here, kitty. Jones. Damn it, Jones.
Scratching noises. A reassuring cat yowl. Brett moves on. Interior passageway, sea level. Ripley and Parker walk along. Tracker signal weakens. Finally stops.
Nothing here.
Let's go back.
Interior undercarriage room, sea level. Brett enters, still looking for Jones. Another yowl, followed by a hiss. 2 eyes shining in the dark. Jones. Relieved, Brett moves towards the cat.
Here, kitty. Come on, Jones.
Brett reaches for Jones. Jones hisses. An arm reaches for Brett, the alien, now 7 feet tall, hanging from the undercarriage strut in reverse position, grabs Brett and swings up into darkness. Brett screams, to no avail. In the doorway, Ripley and Parker, they witness the horror. Interior, mess. The remaining crew assembled, long faces. Dallas sits with a layout in front of him. Parker stands anxiously by the doorway.
Whatever it was big. Swung down on him like a giant fucking bat.
Dallas looks up.
We're absolutely sure it dragged Brett into the vent.
It disappeared into one of the cooling ducts.
No questions. Using the air shafts to move around.
Like Jones?
Brett could still be alive.
Not a chance. It snapped him up like a rag doll.
What does it want him for?
An incubator, perhaps.
Or food.
A shiver.
Either way, it's 2 down and 5 to go.
I said we blast Ron Bastard with a laser and take our chances.
No way. If it's as big as you say, it's holding enough acid to burn a hole in this ship as big as this room.
Shooting it is not going to help us. It's self-regenerating. You saw that when we operated on it.
Dallas runs his finger over the diagram.
The shaft could work for us. That duct comes out at the main airlock. There's only one big opening on the way, but we can cover that. Then we drive it into the airlock and blast it into space.
Drive it? I'm telling you, the son of a bitch is huge.
The science department should be able to help.
Well, it seems to have adapted to an oxygen-rich environment atmosphere, and it's certainly adapted well for its nutritional requirements. The only thing we don't know about is temperature.
All right. What about the temperature? What happens if we change it?
We could try it. Most animals retreat from fire.
Parker, how long to hook up 3 or 4 incinerating units?
Give me 20 minutes.
Only one thing left. Who gets to crawl in the vent with it?
A pause.
Parker, you always wanted a full share.
Cut it out. Parker, Lambert, you cover the maintenance level exit. Ripley, you and Ash take the airlock.
There's no doubt as to who's going inside the vent. Exterior, outer space, the ship at light +4. Interior, airlock, vestibule. Ripley stands in vestibule, looks through the bulkhead door to airlock. She throws a switch, watches air shaft entrance into airlock open. The trap is ready. Interior, equipment maintenance area. Parker and Lambert get set. Interior, air shaft, completely dark. Dallas turns on his helmet light, flip switch on throat mic.
Do you receive me? Ripley? Parker? Lambert?
Interior, equipment maintenance area. The hum of vast cooling plants. Large air shafts run off in different directions. Parker and Lambert stand ready by a duct. Lambert hits the wall amp button.
We're in position. I'll try and pick you up on the tracker.
Parker hefts his flamethrower.
Parker, if it tries to come out by you, make sure you drive it back in. I'll keep it forward.
Right.
Interior, airlock, vestibule. Near the airlock, Ripley pops open the hatch. The airlock now open and ready. She moves to the air duct opening.
Airlock open.
Ready.
Ready.
Interior, air shaft. Dallas begins to crawl forward. The tunnel is narrow, only a foot or 2 wider than his shoulders.
I'm underway.
Turns a corner. Several more tight turns. Instinctively, Dallas pulls back, raises the flamethrower, fires a blast around the corner into the darkness. It roars loudly in the confined tube. Smoke drifts back into his face. Interior equipment maintenance area. A large rectangular duct in one wall.
That's where it's got to come out. If it leaves the main shaft.
He throws a switch. A metal pane rises and seals off the opening.
Let's keep it open. I'd like to know if anything's coming.
Reluctantly, Parker again throws the switch and raises the metal pane. Interior airlock vestibule. Ripley waiting. Interior air shaft. Dallas, still crawling on hands and knees, ahead the shaft takes an abrupt downward turn. He moves towards the corner, fires another blast from the flamethrower, then starts crawling down, head first. Interior equipment maintenance area. Lambert sees something on the tracker.
Beginning to get a reading on you.
Interior air shaft. The shaft makes yet another turn, puts Dallas into an almost immobilized position. Interior air shaft. Dallas against a wall of the shaft, clutching his flamethrower, whispers into his throat mic.
Ripley?
Interior airlock vestibule.
Read you clear.
Air shaft.
I don't think this shaft goes much further. It's getting hot in here.
He readies the flamethrower. Equipment maintenance area. Parker readies his weapon. Air shaft. Double-tiered passageway. The air shaft opens into a larger two-tier air tunnel. Dallas crawls out and stands, moves to a catwalk floor, looks about, moves forward, reaches a repair junction, sits. His feet dangle beneath the catwalk floor to the next level.
Lambert, what kind of reading are you getting?
Interior equipment maintenance area. Lambert huddled over her tracker, puzzled.
I'm not sure. There seems to be some kind of double signal.
Interior air shaft, double-tiered passageway. Dallas sitting, his feet still dangling in the dark beneath the catwalk.
It may be interference. I'll push on ahead.
Dallas begins to rise. From below, a gentle movement towards the hanging feet. A hand reaches up, misses his leg as Dallas moves ahead. Further on.
Lambert, am I coming in any clearer?
It's clear all right, but I'm still getting two signals. I'm not sure which one is which.
Dallas stops, turns around, looks back down through the catwalk, lowers the nose of the flamethrower, his finger on the trigger. From behind him, the hand reaches up. The alien is the front signal. Interior airlock vestibule. Ripley bends forward, hears the sounds of the struggle, and Dallas's scream. She cries out.
Dallas! Dallas?
Interior equipment maintenance area. Lambert and Parker hearing it all.
Oh my god.
Then silence. Interior mess. Dallas's flamethrower on table surface.
Just found it laying there. No sign of him, no blood, nothing.
Ripley, Ash, and Lambert standing by the table. Lambert obviously still shaken.
Ripley, this puts you in command. It's okay with him.
He nods.
Unless someone's got a better idea about dealing with the alien, we'll proceed with Dallas's plan.
And wind up the same way? No thanks.
Got a better idea?
Yes, abandon ship, take the shuttlecraft and get the hell out of here. Take our chances getting picked up later.
The unsaid alternative.
You're forgetting something. Dallas and Brett may not be dead. It's a ghastly probability, perhaps, but not a certainty.
Ash is right. We've got to give it another try. We know it's using the air shafts. Let's take it level by level. This time we'll laser seal every bulkhead and vent behind us until we corner it.
I'll go along with that.
Lambert doesn't answer.
How are our weapons?
They're working fine. We can use more fuel for that one.
Indicating Dallas's flamethrower.
Then you'd better get it. Ash, you go with him.
Parker looks at Ash.
I can manage.
He leaves. Ripley turns to Ash.
Any other thoughts from you or Mother?
No, nothing new. We're still collating.
I can't believe that.
I'm sorry, Captain. What would you like me to do?
Go back to Mother and keep asking questions until you get some better answers.
All right. I'll try.
He leaves. Interior maintenance area, C deck. Parker selects 2 full methane cylinders. He tests them, moves out. Interior mess. Ripley sits beside Lambert.
Try to hang on. You know Dallas would have done the same for us.
All I know is you're asking us to stay and get picked off one by one.
I promise you, if it looks like it won't work, I'll bail us out of here.
Interior passageway, B level. Parker returning with methane cylinder, turns a corner, comes to an abrupt halt. A movement in front of him beyond the airlock. He hesitates. Then another shadowy movement. Interior bridge, Ripley and Lambert. Parker's voice on voice amp, muffled. Ripley hits a toggle.
Ripley.
Interior passageway, B level. Parker covers the wall communication with his hand.
Keep it down.
Up the corridor, the movement stops. Interior bridge.
Can't hear you. Repeat.
Interior passageway, B level. Parker whispering.
The alien is outside the main airlock door. Open the door slowly. When I say, close fast, blow the outer door.
Interior blister. Ash listens. Passageway, B level. Parker still whispering.
Open it slowly.
Interior bridge. Ripley hesitates. Starts to reply. Throw switch. Interior airlock, B deck. Low servo whine. Door opens slowly. Green light throbbing inside airlock. Creature looks curiously at it. Moves into the threshold. Passageway, B level. Parker watches. Airlock. Creature moves further into airlock, fascinated by the green light. Passageway, B level. Urgent whisper into voice amp.
Now. Now.
Interior bridge. As Ripley moves to throw the switch, airlock. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, a klaxon wails. The creature leaps back across the threshold of the airlock, bewildered. Screams as the inner hatch opens on an appendage. Acid boiling out. The appendage crushed. The acid bubbles. Metal boils and door. Passageway, B level. Parker watches, frozen. The alien wrenches itself free, comes flying outward, smashes Parker down, flees. On the wall, a green light goes on. Inner hatch closed. Airlock, metal still boiling. The outer hatch begins to open. Bridge.
Parker?
Pushes a switch. Pushes it again.
What's happening? Parker.
In front of her, a green light blinks. Inner hatch closed.
Inner hatch sealed. The outer hatch is open.
What about Parker?
I don't know. Take over.
Ripley bolts out of the bridge. Exterior ship. Airlock open. Interior. Passage near airlock. B level. Parker unconscious. Airlock. The inner hatch still closed. Metal boils. The hole growing deeper. Passageway. A deck. Ripley runs toward the airlock corridor. Airlock. Metal boiling and door. Passageways. E deck. Ripley slams to a momentary halt against a bulkhead, regains her balance, and starts running. Passage near airlock, B level. Parker now half conscious. Ripley arrives as the hole in door blows open. Escaping air shrieks. Flashing sign comes on. Critical depressurization. Emergency klaxon. Simultaneously, vestibule doors close on either end, sealing in Ripley and Parker. Door nearest to Parker half closed on one of the methane cylinders, leaving a large gap. Windstorm begins as hole in airlock grows. Ripley, reaching for other cylinder, begins smashing the jammed cylinder out of the door. Blood froths at their noses and ears. Cylinder finally is driven out. The door slams closed. Interior bridge. Lambert watches. Emergency light readings. Hull breached. Emergency bulkheads closed.
Ash, get the oxygen. Meet me at the airlock.
Rushes out, down corridor. Interior passageway near airlock, B level. Ripley staggers towards an emergency panel at far end of corridor, pinging sound, misty atmosphere, tries to activate the door, cannot. Lambert appears other side of bulkhead, activates door from outside, rush of oxygen. Exterior ship, plume of vapor freezes in the vacuum. Passageway near airlock, B level. Repressurization sounds. Parker regains consciousness, struggles to breathe. Ripley cannot move. Breath coming in shallow pants. Lambert with an oxygen tank. Ash follows. Oxygen administered to Ripley and Parker. Finally.
You all right?
We didn't get it. The warning went off and jumped back in the ship.
Who hit the warning?
You tell me.
What does that mean?
I guess the alarm went off by itself.
If you've got something to say, say it. I'm sick of these coy accusations.
No one's accusing you.
Like hell.
Sullen silence.
Go patch him up.
Ash and Parker leave. Ripley turns to Lambert.
How much oxygen have we lost? I want an exact reading.
Why were you accusing him?
Because I think he's lying. And if I can get into his tape records, I'll prove it.
It could have been an accident.
You think I'm wrong?
I don't know. Wrong or crazy.
Thanks.
Interior computer annex. Ripley hurriedly taps out the 5-digit code, rams thumb against an identiprint. The inner door opens. Databanks come to life. She sits at the console, thinks for a moment, then punches up a code. Nothing happens. Punches another combination. Nothing happens. Frustration. Another combination. One screen comes to life. Another combination. She moves to the second keyboard. Screen 1 spells out the question. Question. Who turned on airlock 2 warning system? Response. Ash. Another code. Is Ash protecting the alien? Yes. New code. Why? Special orders 937. Science eyes only. She starts a new code. A hand slips down next to Ripley's arm. It sinks elbow deep into the computer. She whips around in her chair. Faces Ash. He smiles.
Command seems a bit too much for you. But then leadership is always difficult under these circumstances.
Ripley slowly backs up out of the chair, keeps it between them, plays for time.
The problem's not leadership, Ash. It's loyalty.
She circles around the door. Ash still smiles and moves forward slightly.
I think we've all been doing our best. Lambert's getting a little pessimistic, but we've always known she's on the emotional side.
All charm.
I'm not worried about Lambert right now. I'm worried about you.
She starts to turn. He steps towards her.
All that paranoia coming up again.
With that, he reaches out. Ripley bolts by him into the corridor. Ash chases her through the bridge and into the mess. 3 bulkhead doors slam down behind them. Ash catches her. Parker and Lambert burst into the mess. Lambert falls on Ash's back. Ash turns to Lambert, tosses her across the room, returns to Ripley, again choking her. Parker lifts the tracker, sweeps behind Ash, swings the tracker, wallop, tears his head off. Wires ascending from Ash's trunk where his head used to be. Ash's hands release Ripley. Stretch above his neck for his missing head. He walks backward, all eyes on Ash's headless body. He walks the room, still feeling for his missing head.
Robot. Goddamn android.
Ash turns on him, starts to advance. Parker hits him again with the tracker. Again. No avail. Ash begins choking Parker. Ripley picks up one of the prod sticks, closes on Ash's back, tears away the fabric. Lambert pulls at Ash's legs. Ripley tearing at the controls buried in the cavity once covered by his head. Parker's eyes bulge in pain. Ash, headless, choking. Ripley finds the wires, stabs the prod home. Ash's grip lessens. Another stab, electrical flash. The grip lessens. Another stab, flash of circuits. The headless body collapses. Parker trying to regain his breath.
Damn you.
Kicks the headless body. Lambert looks at Ripley.
Tell me, what the hell's going on?
Pause.
There's only one way to find out.
What's that?
Wire his head back up. Ash has been protecting the alien from the beginning. He let it on board. He let it grow inside Kane. He blew the airlock warning.
But why?
The corporation must have picked up the transmission. We happened to be the next ship going by. They put Ash on board to check it out and make sure we followed something Mother calls Special Order 937.
Great. You got it all figured out. Now tell me why we put this son of a bitch together.
We have to find out what else they're holding back.
Ash's head is on the table. His eyes flicker into consciousness.
Ash, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
What was Special Order 937?
That's against regulations. You know I can't tell you.
Then there's no point in talking. Parker, pull the plug.
Parker reaches for the wires. Ash quickly reacts.
My orders in essence, directed me to reroute the ship to the source of the signal. There we were to investigate a life form almost certainly hostile and bring it back for observation, using discretion, of course.
Why? Why didn't you warn us?
Because you might not have gone in, the shares notwithstanding.
You and the damn company. What about our lives, man?
Expendable, I'm afraid. It wasn't personal, just the luck of the draw.
Cold comfort.
The transmission was a warning.
Yes, and frighteningly specific. The derelict spacecraft landed on the planet. Like Kane, they encountered one of the alien spores. Before they all died, they managed to set up the warning.
How do we kill it?
I don't think you can, but I still might be able to help you. I'm not exactly at my best at the moment. If you would reconnect,
Nice try, Ash, but no way.
you idiots. You still don't realize what you're dealing with. The alien is a perfect organism, superbly structured, cunning, quintessentially violent. With your limited capabilities, you have no chance against it.
God, you admire it.
How can you not admire the simple symmetry it presents? An intergalactic parasite from time immemorial, capable of laying dormant for infinite periods. Its sole purpose to destroy other species merely to recreate itself for life and anti-life.
I've heard enough of this shit.
We built you. You're supposed to be part of our survival equipment.
You gave me intelligence. With intellect comes the inevitability of choice. I have had the rare honor of witnessing one of those moments when a major evolutionary step is taken. Two highly successful species in immediate competition for resources and survival. I am loyal only to discovering the truth. A scientific truth demands beauty, harmony, and above all, simplicity. The problem between you and the alien will produce a simple and elegant solution. Only one of you will survive.
I say pull the plug.
I agree.
Ripley starts to undo the wires. Ash smiles.
A last word, a legacy, if you will.
Ripley pauses. Most of the wires undone. Ash's voice slowing.
Maybe it's intelligent. Maybe you should try to communicate with it.
Did you?
Please let my grave hold some secrets.
Ripley pulls the plug.
Goodbye, Ash.
Interior, dark corridor to bridge. Ripley in the computer annex. Lambert and Parker enter.
He's right about one thing. We've got less than 12 hours of oxygen left.
All over.
Gloom.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I think I prefer a painless, peaceful death to any of the alternatives on offer.
We're not there yet.
Lambert holds up a small card of Spansols, suicide pills.
We're not, huh?
I think we should blow up the ship.
I think I'll stick with chemicals if you don't mind.
We leave in the shuttle and then we blow up the ship.
Interior corridor B deck. Ripley, Parker, and Lambert walk rapidly down the corridor.
We're going to get the hell off the ship and blow it up.
And take our chances in the shuttle?
Right. We'll need coolant for life support. You round up all you can carry. I'll start preparing the shuttle.
They move out. Interior narcissist. Ripley enters the narcissist. Meh. Cautious at first, then hurries to throw switches, twists her hair back as she works feverishly, stops as she hears Jones meowing over the intercom.
Jones.
Ripley rushes out, leaving doors open. On the bridge, Jones lying on Dallas's console. Ripley comes in, smiles.
Jones, you're in luck.
As she reaches for him, Jones jumps off the console, moves away.
Come on, Jones.
She moves after the cat. We hear Parker and Lambert over the communicator from the garage.
How much do you think we'll need?
Ripley still in pursuit of the cat. Interior garage. Parker and Lambert loading coolant cylinders.
All you can carry.
Ripley's voice over communicator from bridge.
God damn it, Jones. Come here.
Interior bridge. Ripley furious, but still speaking gently.
Here, kitty. Come here, kitty.
Jones moves away. Interior food locker, B deck. Arms full, Parker moves out of the locker. Lambert is still making her selection. A faint light on the tracker, unnoticed. Interior bridge. Ripley finally corners Jones, finds his box, tries to put him in it. Jones resists, ultimately futile. Interior food locker corridor outside. Parker attempts to pick up the flamethrower, can't manage it and the food, drops some of the packages.
God damn.
In the locker, Lambert gathers food.
What's the matter?
Nothing. Just hurry up.
The tracker flashes faster. Now it's noticed. Parker picks up the flamethrower.
Get out of here.
Right now.
The alien appears out of the air shaft ventilator. Lambert turns, screams, unfolding. The alien grabs for her. Interior bridge. Ripley freezes as she hears Lambert scream. Interior corridor, outside food locker. Parker looks back into the locker. Unable to use the flamethrower without hitting Lambert, he hesitates for a moment, then strides into the locker, wielding the flamethrower like a club.
God damn you!
Interior food locker. The alien drops Lambert. Parker lands a blow with the flamethrower. No effect. The alien strikes him once, killing him instantly. He now moves to Lambert. Interior bridge. Ripley listening on the communicator. Lambert's dying shrieks. Then the voice amp goes dead. Silence.
Parker. Lambert.
She waits for a response, but her expression shows that she expects none. A long moment. Expectation fulfilled. Nightmare without end. Interior B-level companionway. Ripley descends cautiously, holding flamethrower, Jones above, squalling. Interior corridor B-deck. Ripley moving warily, carrying flamethrower, nears entrance to food locker, looks in, sees carnage. Interior maintenance corridor C-level. Ripley running toward engine room, out of breath. Exhausted, she stops, gulping in air. Suddenly ahead of her, the sound of human weeping. She moves quietly ahead until the source of the sound is directly under her feet. She is standing on a round metal plate. Ripley starts to remove the disc. Interior undercarriage, room number 4. The round opening illuminates a dark ladderway. Still carrying flamethrower, Ripley starts downward. Pitch black. Ripley arrives at deck level, shines her light. Its arc reveals the alien's lair. Bones, shards of flesh, pieces of clothing, shoes, bizarre extrusions on the wall. Something moves in the darkness. Ripley spins, turns her light towards the movement. Hanging from the ceiling is a huge cocoon, woven from fine, white, silk-like material. Flamethrower ready, Ripley approaches, sees that the cocoon is semi-transparent, the body of Dallas inside. Unexpectedly, his eyes open, focus on Ripley. His voice is a whisper. Unexpectedly, his eyes open, focus on Ripley. His voice is a whisper.
Kill me.
What did it do?
Dallas moves his head slightly. Ripley turns her light. Another cocoon dangles from the ceiling, but of a different texture, smaller and darker with a harder shell, almost exactly like the ovoids in the derelict ship.
That was Brett.
I'll get you out of there. We'll get up to the auto dock.
A long moment. It's hopeless.
What can I do?
Kill me.
Ripley stares at him, raises the flamethrower, sprays a molten blast. Another blast. The entire compartment bursts into flames. Ripley turns and scrambles back up the ladderway. Interior oily corridor, sea level. Ripley emerges from below, gasps for breath, regains control of herself. Exterior, outer space. At light speed, the ship and refinery appear to hang motionless. Star clusters rolling past in the infinite distance. Interior, engine room, cubicle. Ripley enters the power center, stares at the massive Light Plus engines, approaches the main control board, begins closing the switches one by one. A long moment. Sirens begin to honk. Mother speaks. Attention! The cooling units for the Light Plus engines are not functioning. Engines will overload in 4 minutes, 50 seconds. Interior, oily corridor, sea level. Ripley running towards B-deck companionway. Interior, B-level corridor. Ripley starts towards Narcissus. Remembers Jones. Interior, A to B levels companionway. Jones howling in his box. Ripley reaches up and grabs him. Interior, B-level corridor leading to airlock. Ripley carrying Jones, holding flamethrower. Jones hisses. Fur rises. Ripley stops and stares down corridor towards Narcissus. The alien can be heard thrashing about the shuttlecraft. Ripley turns and bolts towards the engine room, leaving Jones on B-level companionway. Interior, companionway into oily corridor, E-level. Ripley bounds down the companionway, her footsteps clanging metallically throughout the ship, a final sprint towards the engine room. Attention, engines will overload in 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Interior, engine room, cubicle. The door crashes open. Ripley comes pounding in, the chamber filled with smoke, engines whining dangerously. Ripley breaks out in perspiration from the intense heat. She runs to the controls, begins throwing the cooling unit switches back in place. The sirens continue sounding. Attention, engines will overload in 3 minutes. Ripley presses a button and speaks into it.
Mother, I've turned on all cooling units back on.
Too late for remedial action. The core has begun to melt. Engines will overload in 2 minutes, 35 seconds. A moment. Then Ripley turns and runs from the engine room. Interior, oily corridor, companionway. Ripley continues down the corridor, up the companionway, exhausted, stumbling. Attention, engines will overload in 2 minutes. Interior, B-level, companionway. She reaches companionway and picks up Jones. B-level, corridor leading to Narcissus. Ripley staggers towards the airlock, the Narcissus berth beyond. She drags Jones and raises the flamethrower, turns to see if the creature is behind her, then advances down the passageway, goaded on by the computer. Attention, engines will explode in 90 seconds. She makes it to the vestibule, looks into the shuttle, interior Narcissus. Ripley scans the narrow deck, empty. Vestibule. She turns and dashes back, grabs the cat box, runs towards the shuttle. Attention, the engines will explode in 60 seconds. Narcissus. Ripley enters on the run, hurls the cat box towards the front, dives into the control chair, hits the launch button. Exterior ship, outer space. The retainer clips drop away. A blast of ramjets. The shuttle is launched from the mothership. Interior Narcissus. Ripley frantically straps herself in. G-forces from the shuttle's acceleration pulling against her. Exterior space. The Narcissus continues to power away from the mothership, the larger bulk of the ship quietly receding. All is strangely serene. Interior Narcissus. Ripley finishes strapping herself in, reaches and grabs the cat box, the cat yowling within. Ripley hugs the box to her chest, hunches her head down and over the container. Exterior space. The ship drifts farther away from the shuttlecraft, finally becomes a small point of light, then it blows up, transforms into expanding orange fireball. Pieces of metal flying in all directions, and then the refinery explodes. 200 million tons of gas bloating silently into the cosmos. Interior shuttle. The shock wave hits the shuttlecraft, jolting and rattling everything within. Then all is quiet. Ripley unhooks herself from her straps, rises and goes to the back of the escape craft, stares out through the porthole, face bathed in the orange light. Exterior space. Pieces of debris float past. The boiling fireball fades into nothingness. The ship has ceased to exist. Interior shuttlecraft. Ripley watching the final destiny of her ship and crewmates, a very long moment. Then behind her, the lethal hand emerges from deep shadow. The alien has been in the shuttlecraft all along. The cat yowls. Ripley whirls, finding herself facing the creature. Ripley's first thought is for the flamethrower. It lies on the deck next to the alien. Next, she glances around for a place to hide. Her eye falls on a small locker containing a pressure suit. The door standing open, she begins to edge toward the compartment. The creature comes for her. Ripley dives for the open door, hurls herself inside, slams it shut. Interior locker. A clear glass panel in the door. The alien puts its head up to the window, peers in at Ripley. Their faces only 2 inches apart. The alien looking at Ripley almost in curiosity. The moaning of the cat distracts it. Interior shuttlecraft. The alien moves to the pressurized cat box, bends down and peers inside. The cat yowls louder as his container is lifted. Interior locker. Ripley knocks on the glass, trying to distract the creature from the cat. The alien's face is instantly back at the window. Getting no more interference from her, the creature returns to the cat box. Ripley looks around, sees the pressure suit, quickly begins to put it on. Interior shuttlecraft. The alien picks up the cat box, shakes it. The cat moans. Ripley is halfway into the pressure suit. The creature throws the cat box down very hard, picks it up again, hammers it against the wall, then jams it into a crevice, begins to pound the container into the opening. The cat now beyond all hysteria. Interior locker. Ripley pulls on the helmet, latches it into place, turns the oxygen valve. With a hiss, the suit fills itself. A rack of the wall contains a long metal rod. Ripley peels off the rubber tip, revealing a sharp steel point. Interior spacesuit locker. Ripley inhales and kicks the door open. Interior shuttlecraft. The creature rises, faces the locker, catches the steel shaft through its midriff. The alien clutches at the spear. Yellow acid begins to flow from the wound. Before the wound can touch the floor, Ripley reaches back and pulls the switch, blows the rear hatch. The atmosphere in the shuttle instantly sucked into space, the bleeding creature along with it. Ripley grabs a strut to keep from being pulled out. The alien shoots past her, grabs Ripley's ankle with an appendage. Exterior shuttlecraft, outer space. Ripley now hanging halfway out of the shuttlecraft, the alien clinging to her leg. She kicks at it with her free foot. The creature holds fast. Interior shuttle. Ripley looks for any salvation, grabs the hatch lever, yanks it. The hatch slams shut, closing Ripley safely inside. Exterior shuttlecraft, outer space. The alien still outside the shuttlecraft within the vacuum of space, the tip of its appendage matched into the closed hatch. Acid starts to foam along the base of the hatch, eats away at the metal. Ripley stumbles forward to the controls, pushes the ramjet lever. Exterior shuttlecraft, outer space. The creature struggling, jet exhausts located at the rear of the craft. The engines belch flame for a few seconds, then shut off. Incinerated, the alien tumbles slowly away into space. Interior shuttle. Ripley hurries to the rear hatch, peers out through the glass. Exterior outer space. The burned mass of the alien drifts slowly away, writhing, smoking, tumbling into the distance, pieces dropping off. The shape bloats, then bursts. Spray of particles in all directions, then smoldering fragments dwindle into infinity. Interior shuttlecraft later. Now repressurized, Ripley is seated in the control chair, calm and composed, almost cheerful, cat purring in her lap. She dictates into a recorder.
Final report of commercial starship Nostromo. Third officer reporting. The other members of the crew, Kane, Lambert, Parker, Brett, Ash, and Captain Dallas are dead. The cargo and the ship destroyed. I should reach the frontier in about 6 weeks. With a little luck, the network should pick me up. This is Ripley, last survivor of the Nostromo, signing off.
She switches off. Interior Narcissus. Ripley in hypersleep. Exterior outer space. The shuttlecraft Narcissus sails into the distance. Fade out. The end.
Yes, very good. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in for this one, and we'll see you at the next.